Hello, my spoonlings, and welcome back to my channel. We are in for a special episode today, so let's get into it. Sorry, before you get into the intro, trigger warning, there are deep topics talked about that involve, the deep, dark thoughts of humanity. So if you are not in a place to be listening to this podcast, please go ahead and click off now. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you in the next one. Jump scare. It's Spoons here, the editing version of Spoons. I realized I did not really give this video a proper introduction. This is a Midnight Brew episode, and you guys will meet your brand new co-host, Giggles. She is fantastic. And we cover a lot of topics that are good, but we also cover things that are just like super duper important. And we play it off lighthearted, maybe a little too lighthearted right from the get-go, but it's to really make you just laugh and shake it off, because we get deep in the weeds in this episode, and you'll probably see me a couple more times, because we were in it, man. I still don't even remember half of what we recorded, but I hope you enjoy, and let's get into the video. Alrighty. I am here for a midnight brew session, and you guys are now going to meet your brand new co-host, Giggle Guts. Take it away, Giggles.
Hey, Gigglers.
Oh gosh.
How you been today? Hey, Life of Spoons.
What's up, Giggles?
What is Midnight Brew?
A midnight brew, you say?
Yes, a Midnight Brew.
A midnight brew is a very special episode that will come out at midnight. And we talk about all the topics you wouldn't normally talk about in other kinds of podcasts. The good, the bad, the in-between, the crazy. All the good stuff. Question number 1.
Yes.
We're going to start funny, guys, and then we're going to kind of get a little into the more in-depth topics, and then we'll end funny, because we like to keep it light around here, but we still need to talk about important things. Priorities. So, the very first question we have is, when you take a shower, Giggles, how do you wash your booty cheeks?
Oh my gosh. How I wash my booty cheeks. I've asked people this question before, okay? And I've got tons of different answers. I hear people use their hands. Okay. I hear people use washcloths, and I hear people use loofahs to wash their booty cheeks.
See, like, the loofahs have so many.
That's what I'm saying. The loofahs will just catch. The loofahs will just catch it. They'll just catch it, and then you're left with the outcome of it.
I just pretend my shower head is a bidet.
Make sure you clean your butt.
Why did we think this is the first question?
I don't know. How I clean my butt, right? I do exactly what you do. I use a shower head, and I put a little dab of soap.
Soapity soap. Y'all, we talked about this for so long. Wash your booty cheeks. Moral of the story, wash it, not with a loofah. Talking about weird topics, what weird food combination do you enjoy but not share publicly? That you are now going to share publicly.
I am so excited to see what your answer is. Or to hear what your answer is, not see. Because
close enough.
because I myself, it's not really weird, but I like to eat cottage cheese and sour cream and onion chip. No. Sour cream and cheddar chips. Ooh. Cheddar and sour cream is what 3 tries. Cheddar and sour cream. And I don't necessarily like to dip them in. I will take a bite of my cottage cheese, and then afterwards I will eat before I start chewing it, I'll put in a cheddar and sour cream chip, and I'll chew it together, and
You
it's
could
really good. It's
skip the
just like,
middleman and use a chip as a scoop.
yeah, realistically, you could, yeah, but with it being so thick, it may or may not break. Get the chips with the ridges in them.
This is true. This is very
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Um, I have a couple different answers. So one
Okay,
is cream cheese and Takis.
okay,
That one's probably not as weird, but just dip a Taki in cream cheese.
and
Um,
that's fun. Yeah,
and
it's
the
gets
other
rid of some
one
of the
is
hotness from it.
the other one is a kind of family recipe.
Hmm.
They are called pickle bobs.
Ooh, what are pickle bobs?
Yeah, so pickle bobs. You take a pickle. I prefer the small pickles. My cousins have morphed the recipe, which I will share that after as well. But I take one of the small dill pickles.
Hmm.
Then I have sliced turkey or sliced ham. I like to mix it up and do both because then, variety.
Yeah.
And I now do spreadable cream cheese because it was getting really hard to spread the cream cheese without ripping the turkey.
Yes, yeah.
So
And that makes sense.
yeah, so basically, you flatten out your turkey piece, you take your spreadable cream cheese, spread it all over evenly. You need enough of it, otherwise, it's gonna be funky. So you take your turkey or ham or whatever you fancy,
Mhm.
and then you spread the cream cheese over it, and then you take your pickle and you roll it from one end to the other so it's completely covered, like a little sushi roll kind of deal, and then you cut
Yeah,
it up and put toothpicks in each one, and they're pickle bobs.
that actually sounds really good. It does
And
not
then
sound bad at all.
my cousins have taken it a step further with the giant pickles. I don't love the texture of giant pickles because they get squishy instead of crunchy. I like the
Yeah.
idea of a big pickle, but they're not crunchy how I want them to be. But they take it, they kind of scoop out the middle,
Mhm.
shove Takis in the center, and then do the turkey ham or whatever and the cream cheese and roll that up and just eat it whole like a mini burrito.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
I have another one as well because I know we
ooh,
talked about this one, but I do want to put it on the podcast so people can
yeah.
hear about it too. This one is the garlic bread grilled cheese.
Oh my gosh, I want to try this recipe
Yeah.
so
Remember
bad.
I remember I was telling you about it? So essentially what it
Yes.
is, obviously you make grilled cheese how you make grilled cheese. But instead of using regular butter, you can either go to the store and buy a pre-made garlic butter spread, or you can make it yourself with certain types of seasonings and everything else, of course, garlic and onion powder. I think there's like two other seasonings I like to put in mine. I can't think of them at the moment. But you spread that on top of the bread and you put it down and you fry on each side with that bread like you would for a grilled cheese. And then it honestly just tastes like grilled cheese, garlic bread, like the name of it. And it is delicious. You can pair it with tomato soup or without. Either way, it tastes good with it or without it. And
Oh.
sometimes I'll do with it, other times I'll do without it because it's so good. But I have to make so many of them. So if you make this recipe, you're going to want to make a lot of them depending on how much you really love garlic bread. And I love garlic bread. So it's like I have to make 2 times as much as I typically would so my daughters can also have some.
Now my mouth is watering. What am I gonna do?
I know, it's so
Oh my gosh, it sounds so good. I'm so excited to try it. Like,
yeah, it is delicious.
do you have a favorite anime?
Do I have a favorite anime? I have so many animes I love to watch. I mainly like to watch the romance genre animes because they just make me feel happy on the inside. Seeing two people fall in love, it makes me feel happy. It makes me want to relive me being I was gonna say being happy, but I'm already happy.
Oh my
But
gosh.
it just makes you like I don't know. It's just so joyful seeing it.
Yeah.
And through anime, the animations are always so beautiful, and stuff like that. So it's just so pretty, and I love the storylines behind it. If I had to pick one of my favorite animes, just one of them, oh, that's gonna be a hard one.
If you can't
'Cause
pick, it's okay. You've listed some good ones.
I do like. Hmm, I like Demon Slayer a lot.
Yes.
I think Demon Slayer is great. I also really like the Oron High School Host Club, which
Ooh.
is another really good one. Um, all the anime ones I've watched, I'm like, love them, love them.
I'm probably gonna make someone somewhere really upset by calling
Mhm.
this an anime, but it's just such a good show. I love the animated cartoon of Avatar The Last Airbender. I think that show slaps. And it's
It is so good.
animated.
It is animated, and it also is anime, right? Because people can say it's not anime. It's just a drawing. Well, anime is a drawing. It's kind of like saying Pokemon's not anime, because Pokemon is anime.
Pokemon most definitely is anime. What fictional character do you have beef with?
Oh, I know we talked about one yesterday.
I'm so
Um,
excited to share mine.
I think I have beef with. Oh, there's so many.
I liked yours because yours went with mine yesterday.
Yes, yes. Umbridge from Harry Potter, the lady that wore that pink suit because she was so vile and disgusting to Harry Potter
Oh
and
my gosh. And like
so
she definitely hit
infuriating.
all the undertones of like racism.
She
Like,
did. Yes, she
oh
did.
my
Yeah.
gosh, so much beef. Now, mine is also Harry Potter related, but it's not so
Mhm,
much towards a character, but a
mhm.
character difference between the movie and the book. I have so much beef with people being like, oh, this is going to be the most accurate representation of a book. And it's not. Like, I get that they have to cut things out. That makes sense to me. But changing who people are aggravates me. It irks me.
Yes.
So, Dumbledore in
Especially
the books, in the Goblet of Fire, right?
Mhm. Yep.
You know, he very calmly in this scene walks up to Harry and says, Harry, did you put the did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? And in the book it says Dumbledore asked calmly. Then in the movie, this psycho ran up to him, elbow in the throat. You put your name in the Goblet of Fire. Are you sure you didn't do it?
Harry, did you put your name in the? No, Professor. I swear I didn't do that, Professor. Professor, no.
I
I
would
swear,
not.
Professor. I would never do that to you, Professor.
Are you sure? Oh my gosh.
But of course he is lying.
It's just absolutely ridiculous. I have so much beef with book versus movie.
Yes.
But
Yeah. And I
yeah.
feel the same exact way with Jurassic Park and how the book is for that versus the actual movie because there's so much blood and gore in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And in the actual movies, yeah, there's blood and gore, but not
It's
what it
not
needs to
quite the
be.
same.
You don't
Absolutely terrifying. And I kind of
Yeah.
understand why they didn't want to put it in full detail, but they could have alluded to it, not
Yes, like
completely cut it out. Because, like,
yeah, and
that's the thing with like scary movies these days is like they think the only thing that means scary is blood and gore. Don't get me wrong, blood and gore is absolutely scary and there's a time and a place for
oh
it.
yeah.
But
Oh
like
yeah.
you remember the old scary movies where there's not a single blood gut or anything. Nothing actually scary happens, but because of the suspense and the confusion and the music, it was absolutely horrifying. Like you feel it in your
Yes, yeah.
soul.
Like, for example, Jeepers Creepers. I don't know if you've ever
Yeah.
watched that. Jeepers Creepers is a good representation of that because it is scary. I mean, there is some blood and gore in it, but it is mainly focused on the character, how he acts, what he likes to do. And it shows and portrays it, but doesn't actually come across as him ripping them limb to limb.
Right. And like, I don't know, using your imagination is so much more scary. Like, reading a scary book is
Hmm.
far more intense for me than watching a scary movie. I just get
Yeah.
annoyed with scary. I don't like scary things. I don't like scary games or anything like that, but I love me a good scary book.
Oh, yeah. And
But yeah, so speaking of scary, we're gonna get into more of the not scary, the deeper, darker side of this podcast. And we're jumping right in with have you ever thought about not being on this earth? And not in an astronaut way.
yeah. Not not in the atmosphere, guys.
I mean, that's one
But
way to do it, but like that's a whole different thing. Sorry. Oh man. Okay, sorry. I'll shut up. Serious mode now.
okay, trigger warning. Took away. But with this one, we are talking about, of course, death and self-expire. If you know someone or you yourself are currently going through something, I would definitely call the 1-800-273-8255 number, and that will connect you to the 988 Lifeline services. And that is to talk to someone if you are feeling like you want to self expire and you don't see a purpose. Everyone has a purpose, but calling and contacting them and talking to someone will make it 10 times better. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. So, when it comes to, how do I explain this? When it comes to the situation for me, I got to the point where, I would write down how I was feeling in a notebook every day. And it got to a point where I would do that. My depression started to worsen, and I write down how I was feeling every single day in this notebook. And some days it would be like really good things, like, oh, today I made breakfast for my daughters and they enjoyed the breakfast. It was a good day. We went to the park. We had a lot of fun at the park. And then it would turn into things that weren't great. It would be, me talking bad about myself in this book. Basically, you're a terrible mother, you're worthless, you really don't matter. I think you'd be better off not being here. Obviously, your kids and everyone cares about you, but to how much? What's the extent? And it was a lot. And I got to the point where I was writing a lot more of the negative stuff than the positive stuff and trying to be positive. To the point where I was like, okay, if I keep up with writing this stuff in this notebook, and this is a notebook that anyone could access at any time, and I want to emphasize that. I had
Yeah.
it in my room at the time. My kids at the time they could not read, so they wouldn't even understand it. My husband didn't even know about it. He didn't know that I had it. He didn't know that I was writing stuff in the book. It was just something that I had to try and get my frustrations out because of how much it was dawning on me with everything, right? And I want to say this was probably 2020, 2021, right?
Yeah, that was
Whenever I,
that's such a peak
whenever,
time for
yeah,
so many people.
it was hard. So at that time, I was writing in this book. It got to the point where, terrible things were being written. I was writing them every day. I got so tired of seeing terrible things every single time, and I was like, you know what? I know that I am a good person. I know that I do have good, in me. I know that I have to be here for my daughters because if I'm not here, who's going to raise them? And on top of that, to make it even more worse, I would sit there and I would actually think about what it would be like after I would die.
Yeah. It's not
And
necessarily making a plan, but
no, it's not.
it's
It's not
still
making a
so
plan.
significant. Like people think,
Mhm.
"Oh, unless you're, making the plan, tying the knot, it's not that bad." But it really is that bad.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is definitely that bad. So, you know, I sat there and I actually thought about it. What would my children do who are at this point under the age of 5? What would they do if something would have happened to me tomorrow because I caused that? Who would take care of them? Who would be there for them? Who would do this? Who would do that? How would things be handled? And I just couldn't think of a place or time where I was comfortable with leaving my children to someone else's devices and having them take care of them because I did something to myself that, you know, would internally cost me everything,
Yeah.
right? And oh, sorry, I just like flipped my screen around. My mouse like shut off my. I was like, man, my screen went black because I wasn't doing nothing. But so I got to a point where I was tired of seeing all that written in my notebook. I was tired of feeling depressed, and I was tired of being like, boo me. This sucks, that sucks. And I went to a family doctor and I made an appointment. I went in for my set appointment and I just remember my doctor asking me and she was like, "What brings you in here today?" And I'm like, "I'm going to be completely and totally honest with you, full transparency. My depression has gotten to a point where it is really bad. I feel like I need to be medicated and everything else. And at this time, my dad had passed away in 2021, so this was right after my dad passed away. And that hit me super hard. It's one of the toughest things to deal with whenever your parent passes away.
Yeah. Gosh, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it was beyond hard. It still is. Like I do little things every day to where I remember him, like his memory is still there, and I implement that into my everyday. So if I were to go to one of his favorite restaurants, I would eat something that he would like because I know he would eat that. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
If we go grab drinks, I'll grab a drink he might like, something compared to what I might like, just something like that. And it really made it easier for me in accepting the fact that he's no longer here, but it's still very hard. My daughters remember him. It's just so tough, right? So,
Devastating.
yeah, so after he passed away, I went in, I was like, I can't do it anymore. I have to talk to someone because it was so bad. Postpartum, regular depression, and then, extra depression from my dad. And it just got me to a point where I was so negative and hated myself so much. I felt like I could fix it, and it's me that's the problem. I went in and talked to my doctor, and I told her I need to be medicated. She gave me a piece of paper. Isn't it crazy how a piece of paper can tell you whether you are
Piece of
depressed
paper
or not?
determines everything. Piece of paper
Yeah,
determines your
isn't
treatment, your just
yep,
everything.
isn't that kind of crazy? I mean, I understand, the point behind it, but
It's just
to
so
me,
grossly oversimplified, and it's kind of funny looking at it like, huh,
yeah,
this
yeah,
little
exactly.
script.
So, so they hand me a piece of paper, and it said, "On more days than none, do you hate yourself?" I put yes. Whenever you think about yourself later on down the future, where do you think you're gonna be? And I put not here, right? And then there was like other questions like, are you happy with where you are? Do you feel a certain way about this? Do you feel a certain way about that? And I answered them honestly. Because I would go to the doctors. They're like, fill this out. I'm like, okay. And I would fill it out and I would put half-ass answers on it because I was like, man, I really don't want people to know that I'm depressed. But,
Right,
you
which is
know,
so
I,
incredibly common.
yes, and it happens a lot. It does. It happens a lot. So whenever I went and did it, I answered it truthfully. And she came back and she looked at my paper and she goes, you are depressed. And I was like, well, yeah, that's what I've been telling you. I am
Gee,
depressed.
no wonder.
And I'm like, man, that's crazy you knew that. So she came back and she was just telling me, like, okay, yeah, you are. We're going to start you on some medication today. Take this, and within these 2 weeks, if like you have really bad migraines, stop taking it. I said, okay.
Yeah.
So the first medication that I took, I didn't remember what it was called because it was so long ago. And I got really bad headaches like the first 3 days into taking the medication. And
Ooh.
I called and I told her about it. I'm getting really bad headaches. She's like, okay, well, you're going to stop taking them then because that is too much for you. I'm like, all right, that's fine. And then she puts me on another medication, and it is called fluoxetine. For me, fluoxetine really worked.
Yeah, it,
Yeah, and I
yeah.
was so happy whenever, they prescribed it to me and I took it. And there are times whenever I feel like, I really do like, I don't even know how to say it. There are times where I feel like I still feel depressed, but I am so beyond grateful for everything that I have going on in my life where it's more joyful to be alive than to self-destruct,
Yeah.
self
Here's the
self-destroy.
thing that a lot of people don't realize is medication is not a cure.
No, it is not by any means. It
And
can
it's not even meant to
temporarily.
be used by itself. It's actually
Mhm.
supposed to be a combination of medication, therapy, life changes. Like, there's so many things that go into it, and it will always, always, always be a battle. And the reason it's a silent killer is, first of all, we hide it. Second of all,
Yeah.
you can be fine. You can be fine, chugging along, and then it just takes over.
Yep.
No rhyme or reason. And it depends on what your depression's from, too. Is it a chemical imbalance? Is it from PTSD? Is it from being lifed? Like, the different causes are going to change how you treat and react and how frequently and how intense. It's such a battle.
It really is, and it is definitely super hard by
Yeah.
itself. So sorry, I'm like burping. I'm like,
Gotta
haven't
get
eaten
all the
nothing
tense
today.
feelings. But yeah. No, so my story, unless there's anything else you want to add.
Oh no, I think I pretty much covered everything. And yeah, what you said about medication not being a cure, it definitely isn't. It is something that definitely helps subside it. You know, the thought will always be there,
And
and
it's
it's
not
always there for
yelling at
me.
you anymore.
Yeah, but it's not yelling or screaming like, "Hey, you little
A little dipstick.
you little dipstick." Yeah, yeah. It's not like screaming at you, so it's bearable, right?
Oh
So
man. Yeah,
I think. Go
oh
ahead.
my story is a little bit different than yours, but not
Mhm.
I don't know. There are similarities and there are differences because every story is a little bit different, but
Yeah.
mine started pretty young actually. um when I look back at it as an adult, I think it probably started around the time I was 12 or 13.
Mhm.
Um, but it didn't bubble to the surface to where I was bold enough to finally say, hey, I need help until I was 16 and a half, 17. And when it did, like, I had probably tried telling my parents once at 15, and they shut that crap down. They said, absolutely not. That's ridiculous. And actually, how it came about was I was doing one of those Facebook survey things or whatever. Like, those little fill out this information, it'll tell you blah blah, or
Oh
have
my
these
gosh,
life
yeah.
experiences like which life experiences have you had? And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I was going through it, and it's like it was a pretty extensive survey. Like, have you ever been here? Have you ever eaten this? Have you ever done that? Have you ever felt this? Have you ever experienced that? Like, it was a pretty extensive survey. And one of the things was, have you ever felt depressed? And not even like, are you depressed or are you trying to kill yourself? It just, have you ever felt depressed? And I was like, yeah. And I clicked yes. And no one even looked at this daggum survey. Like, no one liked it. No one shared it. The only person that saw it was my mother.
Mhm.
And she pulled me aside one day and she's like, you can't tell people you're depressed. And I was like, what? I have never once gone and told someone I'm depressed. The frick you talking about? And she's like, on this survey, you said you felt depressed. And I think you're wrong. I think you just felt a little sad sometimes. And that's not the same. And I was like, I know it's not the same and I wasn't saying that, but okay, mom. And she just absolutely dismissed the fact that I understood what I was saying when I said it. And that was probably when I was like 15. So that got shut down. I didn't even bother. Whatever. 17
Mhm.
comes around and I was dating this absolutely wonderful guy. That was not Mr. Spoons, but I still hold very dear in my heart that it was such a difficult time in my life where, I absolutely adored him. He never did anything wrong. But his family would constantly pick at me. And they physically did stuff to him. And I was pretty upset about that. I spent a lot of my time really worried about him. And as all these things were kind of, bubbling up, all these things,
Mhm.
um, I couldn't date him and take care of him all while taking care of myself. I
Yes, and
had to
that can be
make
very hard.
it destroyed me to say, hey, I need to break up with you. You've done nothing wrong. I still love you, but I cannot take care of myself and what I'm experiencing and you. And I
Mhm.
realize like that's so incredibly selfish, but I still stick to it that if I hadn't done that, I would have gone through and made a plan and gone through with it. Because it was just so overwhelming, and my parents kind of a little bit of a backstory. I'm the oldest of two.
Mhm.
Well, technically three. The middle sister was a stillborn, okay? And
Oh wow.
that was incredibly hard, and especially now that I've lost my own children, I look at that with a whole new light now. And
Yeah.
um then my parents went through the adoption process. The middle sister passed away when I was about 4. And from pretty much that day, like once they recovered, they immediately started the adoption process. It wasn't until I was 8 that they adopted my sister. So I watched them go through all of that. And, I was always the kid that was like, oh, she's so independent. We don't ever have to worry about her. We don't ever have to entertain her because she's already entertaining herself. We're going to focus on adopting a child. And I was like, okay, cool. I'd like a sibling, cool, whatever, right? Like, I didn't,
Yeah.
I didn't register anything other than that. And, she comes home and my parents did the usual speech of like, just because we adopted her doesn't mean we don't love you. It's not that we're picking favorites. We're just taking care of a baby. And I was like, no, duh. Like, it's a baby. Like,
Yeah, it's a baby.
I was old enough to understand by far and take care of this baby, which I definitely did for a long time and still, like, feel the obligation to. And it was such a battle. I don't know. Anyways, so she was an RSV baby. So that was incredibly tough. I understood that entire time, and I just took on the role of caring big sister. Like, I never asked to go anywhere. I never asked to do anything. Like, I never asked for any special treatment, never complained when she needed attention. The second I turned 10, I started watching her. Like, I took on a pretty big role in caring for her at a pretty young age. And my parents will tell you I'm wrong, and I would the phrase most used in my household was, "You're not her mother." Really? Because I raised her like one.
Isn't it crazy how your parents can say that?
I know.
Isn't it crazy?
Well, and here's the thing too, is like, I was forced to watch her and take care of her and make sure she didn't cry and make sure she didn't bug my parents and all this stuff. And like, I would do everything to protect her because I didn't want her to experience the dismissal that I felt. And she realized pretty early on that she was indeed the favorite, and I'll explain why later, but she used that to her advantage for a long time. She despised me. She'd bite me, hit me, punch me, and then fall on the floor and start crying, and I'd immediately be punished. Like, no questions asked, no further looking into it, not seeing the huge bruises on me from being bit, and just immediately punished me. And that's kind of the whole dynamic my household was. So you're kind of getting a little glimpse into why it started at such a young age. And by the time I got to 17, my parents just fully, blatantly, in public, in front of strangers, would favor my sister. And I had strangers come up to me and be like, hey, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, why? And they're like, because your parents just blatantly favored your sister and punished you. And I was like, that's pretty normal around here. And they're like, no, it's not. So by the time I got to 17, I just cracked, right? Like, it was too much. And there were so many other things, like, at 14, someone in my high school had, sewer slided themselves. And I knew them, we all knew them, and we were never the same as a community after that.
Yeah, and it's sad. Whenever it's someone super close, it is very hard. Very hard.
And I wasn't, like, best friends with them, but, like, I knew them enough that, like, I don't know, it was just devastating. And, I get to 17, I crack, I'm like, I'm gonna do something. I don't have a plan, I don't know how, but I'd be walking in a parking lot and be like, hey, I'd be okay if this car ran me over. Hey, I'd be okay if I just didn't wake up tomorrow. And I was like, I kind of don't care if my parents believe me or not at this point. I have to say something, so if something happens, someone knows, like, I wasn't kidding. So yeah. I finally tell my mom, and I was like, Mom, like, I'm making plans, and you can say you don't believe me, but, like, I'm making plans. I need to see the doctor, and I need to see the doctor now. So She takes me to the doctor. I get on medication, which made me gain 30 pounds in a month.
Yeah, and that's hard when we gain weight from it too.
Yeah, and I was getting worse thoughts, and I was like, so this is not working. I go back in, they're like, okay, we'll switch you to fluoxetine. It worked for about a week. And, 18, I started really seriously dating my now husband, Mr. Spoons. We got engaged, and I hid that crap like no tomorrow. Because any decision I made was like with everyone else in mind except for myself. And I was like, I'm keeping this for myself. This is my decision. I don't care what a single soul freaking says.
Yeah.
And finally, I was about to leave for college, and I was like, I'm about to leave and go across the country to a different state. Like, I'm not even going to be in the same time zone. I'm like 2 time zones over. I should probably tell my parents that I'm engaged. So we all sit down, right? And I had Mr. Spoons over, and he was like, hey, I've kind of done this backwards, but like, I'd like to talk to you about marrying your daughter, because like, I've proposed to her.
Yeah, and he clearly loves you, yeah.
Yeah, well, my parents hated him from day one. So they were livid. They're like, why didn't you tell us first? And I was like, because this is exactly how you'd react. And they're like, well, we wouldn't have reacted this way if you had just told us. Like, yeah, you would have. He's never allowed to come over. I'm never allowed to go to his house. He has to come see me at work in order to see me. And the time he did come over, you said some pretty rude things and then left the room for the rest of the night.
Yeah, and stuff like that's not needed, especially when it comes to someone you actually care about.
Well, and I was 18. Like,
yeah.
So it's not even like they had much of a choice in the matter. It was ridiculous. And they had been that way from our first date. Actually, we lied about our first date. They don't know about our first date still. I said I was going to a group of friends to the movies, and I just went, and they knew that Mr. Spoons was picking me up, but it was supposed to be like a mutual group of friends. And he was like, oh, I'll just pick you up. And I was like, haha, cool. Oh my gosh, this dog.
I know.
What's gonna be your reaction?
My reaction to that was, that is a lot to go through, and I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. Because that could be tough for anyone, especially when you think it's normal.
Yeah. Gosh, looking back on it, like, my parents didn't technically lay a hand on me, but they abused the crap out of me. Like, the word for it is abuse, and it took me a long time to realize that.
And I think that with a lot of different parents, they really do go based off of how they were raised and implement what they were raised as onto you.
And you know what? Compared to my dad's parents, which that'll be probably a different story for a different day, my dad's an angel. So, like, as much as it hurt and, it took a lot of therapy to get through it, I could have had it a lot worse, So,
yeah, and
I'm kind of getting a little off topic, but that's kind of like where it started. And there's so many more things I could get into, like the deaths I've experienced, and gosh, COVID by itself, and there's so many things in my life that have given me more than ample reason to make decisions towards self-destruction. And I finally got to that doctor. I finally got on a medication that made it slightly better before I went to college. My mom convinced me to come off the medication because I was doing better, and I can manage without it. So I got off of it. I went to college. I was homesick for Mr. Spoons. Not my parents, not my sister. Now, granted, at this point, my sister and I were getting along much more, and, like, she was the first one I told I was engaged, and, like, she kind of realized what my parents were doing at that point. Probably by the time I was, like, 16, she started figuring out what the dynamic was and kind of switched her tune. So, yeah, and especially now, she's definitely realized now that I'm gone how much I was taking off of her. And then I left, and she's not too happy about that. Which I don't blame her. I really miss her, and like we have such a good, sweet relationship. I adore my sister to pieces. Like, out of all the things, like, she's done nothing wrong. She was just reacting in a way that my parents raised her to be.
Yeah.
And the second she realized, she's like, oh, no, never mind, we're not acting like that. But
I think that it is. I'm happy that you're happy. And I'm happy that you're in a place right now to where you are comfortable and, you have someone to look forward to every day.
it's
And having
definitely a
someone to
battle.
talk to definitely helps, though. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've been through a lot of therapists, and I need to get back into therapy. And, with the chronic illness thing, that really, really sparked it back up. Like, I had gotten to kind of a safe place after I got married. And then I got sick. It got really, really bad. And then we moved. I started getting both kinds of treatment. It started getting better. And it's just, I'm now kind of at a place where at least I'm safe. But, I don't know. It's a battle that it's always up and down, and it's down more than it's up for me because genetics are against me, I think. Don't think I won the genetic lottery. But it's so important to be able to reach out for help. I reached out for help last December. Yeah, last December. It was around the holidays last year. And I was in a parking lot sobbing because I thought we were going to be kicked out on the street. It had just started getting cold. And the only person that helped us when I lost my job and I got sick was my grandma. And like, it's sickening that she's the only person out of both our families that were, like, both our families are far more well off than this woman. Like, my grandma has taken in 3 of my cousins. So she has 3 teenagers, 2 twins, one's an Irish twin, so they're basically triplets.
Yeah.
She is not well, and she's taking care of them, and then she housed us on top. But my grandpa was trying to kick us out, and it was wintertime, and we were having debt collectors come after us because, when I got sick, we lost our place of living, and they said, no, we're not gonna charge you for this because, like, you're clearly medically dying. And I tried to get it in writing, and they lost the email, said that it didn't exist, and said, don't worry, we'll work it out, we'll forward this to the manager. Forwarded it to the manager, who turned me over to debt collections for $6,000 of debt.
Holy crap.
3 times what we paid. Well, no, hold on. It's like 2.5 times. I don't know. It was more than what they should have charged, even for the breaking of the lease that was in the agreement. Yeah. So I was dealing with that, and Spartan, I think, was not well at the time. And I'm just in this parking lot screaming and crying. So I finally called the hotline. And she was just kind of off. And I was like, whatever. She could just be having an off night, or I'm just so hyper upset that I'm just reading everything as bad, right? And I tell her my story, and I'm such a people pleaser that I started off being like, oh, I'm fine, and then like proceeded to break down crying, telling her the story, and she's like, wow, that actually really sucks, and there's nothing we can do for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why are people like that? Like, if you...
And on the hotline of all places.
That really sucks. Sorry. Like, what are you doing with your life, pal?
Ties into our next question, too, which is, like, what's a hard truth that people need to just shut up and deal with? Other than, if you hate a job and you're being mean, go away.
Yeah. I will say, if you hate your job and you're not happy, leave. That is one truth, I will say. The second one is, um, you're not better than anyone else. A lot of
Yes.
people who I have talked to over the years, you may have, say for example, like your house is pretty nice, you have a car, you have everything going for you, you're doing really well, all this and that. And people will always try to tear you down and be like, "Oh, well, I'm better. I'm better than this."
And
And I
at
have
least I'm
I
not
have
like at least I'm not like you.
yeah, at least I have this going on and you don't have that. Sorry, it sucks to be you.
I've had
And
people come into my
it's
live streams like that. Oh, you're poor.
I had someone come in my live stream and say that too. Oh, you're poor? I was like, no. I was like, I have money, but I don't have a lot of money. Well, how much money do you have? I don't see why that's any of your business.
Yeah, that's
Do you
such a
have money?
terrible thing. This, oh my
And
gosh,
you would
this.
look at their account and they're gonna be like, Kevin, and it's like a video of him like showing his like kicking his feet on his bed, and it's like his old kid socks. I'm like, who the hell are you coming in here? You don't even have money, bro. You don't even have $5 in your pocket. What do you mean I don't have money?
It's just
Look
like
at
those
you.
guys that are making fun of Sabrina Carpenter. Like, she's got cankles and no butt.
Yeah,
Like, why are people like this? And this will tie into
and
another
she's
question we
still.
have later, too. Like,
Hmm.
the entitlement needs to take a back seat.
It does.
My hard truth for people is a difference of opinion will not kill you, it'll actually save you.
Hmm.
So, I realized growing up, um, with the tisms and not talking to a lot of people, I never really realized, like, just how much people hate people only because they're different. Like, I thought that, they
Yeah.
had some sort of beef, they got into an argument, something happened, right?
Mhm.
And then I get into the medical field and, we learn that having a difference of opinion is actually really quite beneficial. And every time I try to tell people this, they're like, no, 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 no.
Girl, that's not true. You're lying.
And the way I hate to say dumb it down, because it's not dumb, it's such an important topic. But I
Yeah.
make it stupid on purpose. So then when you work your way back up, it makes more sense. So
Yep.
we're going to role play here.
Okay.
You, Miss Giggles, you like chocolate, okay? And in this
Okay.
scenario, I hate chocolate. How do people normally respond to that?
So if I like chocolate
And
and you
I
hate
hate
chocolate,
chocolate.
well, chocolate is really good, and your opinion is invalid because chocolate is so good, and that's just how I feel.
Yeah. Or like, oh my gosh, how could you even say that?
Ew,
And
chocolate's so nasty. Yep.
yeah. And so I take it to the extreme. Well, because you like chocolate, I now hate you. And your entire being, your existence, you should go die.
That's
That,
terrible, but
and it's
but
so
yeah.
dumbed down and it like over chocolate, right? And like that's so dumb. Why would you like it's so plainly obvious that reacting that way is wrong, right?
Yep.
Well, up the ante. I hate poor people. And if you support poor people, well, then you're going to hell. If you don't live exactly how I live in a big house with a white picket fence and 4 children, and I feed the homeless and I do charity. If you don't live that exact life in that exact order, I hate you. You are beneath me.
And it's disgusting people are like
It
that. It really is.
hurts my soul. Like, here is what a difference of opinion can do, okay?
Hmm.
You're in the medical field. And I love doing this analogy. You're back in ye olden days, all right? And we used to think as a society that everything that happens in the body is because of the heart. And while they're not wrong, the heart doesn't give commands and say, hey, go do this, hey, go do that. But we didn't know that back
Yeah.
then, right?
Hmm.
And then someone one day walked up and said, nuh-uh. And everyone turns their heads and says, the frick you mean, nuh-uh? And those guys, I think it's the brain. What's a brain? What do you mean? That useless thing that floats around in your head? That's useless. Right? And that if this person had never challenged the fact that it's not the heart, it's the brain, none of our medical senses would be where they are now. If someone hadn't said during surgery, hey, this mass looks like it's not supposed to be there. It looks like it doesn't match the rest of the body. Let's cut it out. And everyone turns around and says, excuse me? We don't cut things out of the body like that. What do you mean? We wouldn't have cancer surgeries that way. Like, if we didn't challenge each other, we wouldn't have new ideas. We wouldn't have evolution, like all these things that are so key to our society. We would never have them. We would never have new inventions. We would die out and just not exist. Having a
Completely
difference,
and totally true.
it's so important to be different. And, you know, I get what people say is like, well, if everyone's unique, no one is. Actually, everyone is different, and that does make them unique.
Yeah.
And the phrase does work, because if you weren't unique from each other, we would never function as a human race. I think it is so important to celebrate our differences, celebrate our difference of culture. I mean, seriously, Christians, right? Like, not everyone celebrates Christmas, but like Christians famously celebrate Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Pagans don't quote unquote celebrate Christmas, but they celebrate winter solstice, which I think is equally just as beautiful. Do I think that because I call it Christmas and they call it winter solstice, that means I hate them? No.
No.
It just means that we call it different things. Who cares? There are people that celebrate new moons. There are people that, you know, don't like Halloween. Okay. Like, who cares? Live your life how you want to. Each life is unique and so beautiful. I don't understand why we think we have to attack each other because we're different. We don't have to be the same people. I promise.
Yeah, it's good to be different. It really is.
Who cares if a girl's a different size than you? Who cares if a guy likes to wear eyeliner? Who cares about anything anyone else is doing? Let them be
As long as
them.
you're happy, that's all that matters.
What matters
At the end of the
is,
day,
like, you do what you need to do. You believe in what makes you safe, what makes you happy, what progresses your life. It's so important to be you, and it's so cheesy. But I think we've really lost sight of how to exist as a society, how to complement each other. You know, I love it when people come into my live stream and they teach me new recipes, they teach me new words, like what they use in their native language for this or that, or, you know, like, I don't come in to my live streams and say you can only speak English. There are people that speak Russian. There are people that speak Spanish. There are people that are from Portugal. There are people in Australia. Like, I have people from all over the world in my live streams, and not once have I said you actually can't speak that language. You actually can't be different than me.
Yeah, and the fact that, you know, you aren't like that to people, it says a lot about you. It says that you're a good person. Because just like you said, people can be however they want to be as long as they are happy.
And this kind of ties into our next question as well, which is, people are gonna blow up in my comments or wherever this ends up being, or maybe no one will, but this is such a hot topic that I think people need to take a step back from and look at the whole view. So, pro-life versus not pro-life, right? Pro-life versus what? Pro-choice, I guess, is the official debate.
And what is the differences between pro-life and pro-choice? Just in case no one in the audience knows. Just in case.
So, pro-life, the whole argument is on when life begins and who has the right to say whether or not that life can end. So pro-life is the cell and cell together combining is immediate life and warrants all the protections of life. Pro-choice says it actually doesn't matter when it starts, but the person that is carrying this life gets to make that choice. And
Okay.
each of these things are taken to the extreme. So the pro-life people
Yes.
tend to say, if you make a decision different than what I believe, you're going to hell. And you're a murderer and, you know, all the things, right? And the
Yeah.
pro-choice people also go to extremes and say, well, you're too religious hoity-toity, you're too good, and if you're not like us, then you hate people, you hate women. They're two very polar opposite groups. And the
Yeah.
whole thing that they're fighting for, actually the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it is the same exact thing. Yeah.
They're gonna yell at me and say, no, I'm protecting the life, the cells, I'm protecting this, I'm protecting what. Yes, you should be protecting both. And here's where I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna go from the medical route.
Mm-hmm.
When you work in an ER, when you work in the operating room, it doesn't matter where someone came from. It doesn't matter their financial status. It doesn't matter their race. It doesn't matter if they can pay you or not. What matters is they came to you needing help. Your job is to help them. And in order to help people, the procedure has to be available to do so.
Exactly. Yep.
The procedure has to be available to do so. It doesn't matter what I believe. It doesn't matter what you believe. It does. But in this instance, what matters is saving someone's life. I'm not talking about religion. I'm not talking about women's choice, men's choice, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about someone is on my operating table dying. And the surgeon next to me can't perform the procedure, otherwise they'll lose their license. And it doesn't matter what this woman's religion is. It doesn't matter her race. It doesn't matter if it was her choice or not. What matters is we're trying to save her life, and we can't. And that is so deeply disheartening. It breaks my heart, my soul, that, you know, maybe I wouldn't use it as a form of birth control, okay? And I know that is not everyone that comes in to get this procedure. Not at all. Some people do, sure, whatever. People make choices that they want to make. Do I care what they do? No. They can go live their life. I have no hate or love or anything towards them because of it. What matters is they had access to the procedure. They had the ability to make that choice. The freedom to decide. Whether, like, they had the freedom to decide if that life began at cells or birth, or, you know what I mean? Like, whatever they believed, they had the ability to make that choice to believe because the procedure was available. And I just care that people get the care that they need. In any shape or form, for any reason. It's not my business whether you believe life begins at conception or not until they take their first breath. You are the only person that can make that decision. My perspective is that lawmakers need to fix what they have screwed up so desperately. Religion and government do not belong together, and this is why. People need to make decisions for themselves. We need to be the kind of society that gets the education we need. We need to be the society that takes the time to go, okay. Like, take a breath, take a moment. Not everything needs to move at warp speed. Not everything has to be the same. Just because one person decides to get the procedure doesn't mean the next person has to. And vice versa. It is so important that people get to have self-autonomy. It's important that healthcare providers, it's not our job to influence your beliefs. It is not our job as medical professionals to have a singular say. That's why we won't pick one person or the other. Like, we won't be like, oh, save your 8-year-old versus your grandpa. We take things and we put it through a committee. We put it through numbers, not names, not genders, not money, not nothing. It is this person's level is at this, and that is worse than this. Not because of this or that, but because their body is dying at a faster rate than this person. That is how we make decisions as medical care providers, and that's how it should stay. This woman on my table is dying. It doesn't matter how this child came about. It doesn't matter if it's considered life or not. She is dying, and as a medical provider, it is my job to take care of her.
Yes.
It disheartens me that this is what we've come to, that we have to take a step back and say, hey, it doesn't matter if you believe something different than me. It doesn't matter if we're different people.
Mm-hmm.
It breaks my heart.
And you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I will say what you said is entirely true. I feel like I couldn't even say anything better because you covered everything I was actually going to say.
Sorry.
I'm like sitting here trying to like add more, and I'm like, no, I think you actually covered it all.
This is just, it's so important to me that people get to be themselves. They get to choose. My opinion doesn't even matter in this. Like,
and neither does mine, but you know,
none of our opinions matter. What matters is that we had the freedom to make our own opinions. We had the space.
You had the freedom and the choice to choose what you want to choose, and that
we weren't told to hide our feelings and shove them down in a bag. Like, we had this moment in time to say, hey, this is what we think. Cool. You can like it or dislike it. If you don't like it, cool, I'm not for you. That's not a bad thing. It just means that I'm not like you. And that's not bad. That's okay. People come into my live streams and they're like, aren't you upset that they unfollowed you? Aren't you upset they don't like your content? No. If you don't like pink stuff, that's fine. If you don't like me laughing,
it isn't pink.
I know people that are so anti-pink, and guess what? We still get along. It's okay. I think these topics are just so important to get out there, and I don't care if people disagree with me. That's okay. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for you to disagree with me. Give me your
allowed
point
to
of
voice
view.
your opinion and how you feel on it.
Do it kindly. Okay. That's my only request is, hey, I actually view it this way. Go for it. Do it. I want to hear what you think. I want to know. I want to see things from your perspective. I love learning how people view the world. It's beautiful.
I feel the same exact way. It's kind of like whenever, like you were saying, how people come into your lives and they talk different languages and stuff. I love learning new languages.
Same.
I do. I love it so much. I love learning it to where if I actually go to a different country, I can speak it.
Yeah. No, I think it's beautiful. I love learning about other cultures.
Oopsie poopsie. We started getting off topic, and then I forgot to say, hey, here's the next question. So, here's the next question.
What are the issues behind social media and keyboard warriors? And when I say keyboard warriors, I mean the ones that we talk about in a negative light.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you talk because I've been yakking.
So, some issues that I have with the keyboard warriors is, say for example, all right, this is going to be another very hard topic, right? And I'm not going to give my opinion on it because I don't think that it's needed. I think that, you know, you can develop your own opinion. I have my own, but
and you can tie in our next question about parasocial dangers as well if you'd like.
Yes, yeah, I will love to. So, keyboard warriors, people who go into lives and say mean and or disrespectful things to people who are live because they want to get a raise out of someone. They want someone to respond to them in a negative way just because they think just because they are behind a keyboard and a screen that it won't hurt people's feelings and, you know, they won't get in trouble for it. Anything can be traced by IP address or anything like that. So, with that being said, even with it not being said, you know, you don't have to go online and treat people terribly because you're bored, because you don't feel like treating people with respect. I think that I'm really trying. I'm really trying.
It's just making me think about our previous conversations of like, I don't feel like it, so handle it like it's some piece of meat. I don't know why that's coming to the forefront of my mind, but like that's
Yeah.
how people talk, is like, just handle it.
Yeah, here you go. Do whatever you want to do. I don't care.
Ugh.
But going on live, like for a situation for me, for example, all right? I was going live the one day and someone came in. And of course, if you don't know about me on my channel, I do play various games. I play some scary games. I play other games that I think are fun. I play Minecraft mostly because Minecraft is fun and I play it whenever I want to feel relaxed, which is the majority of the time. I want to feel constantly relaxed.
And you
So,
do you, boo.
yeah, yeah. And it's what I want to do for my channel. So I'm going to do it. And if anyone doesn't
Exactly.
like it, that's your problem, not mine. But
Exactly.
But so I was playing Minecraft the one day. Someone came in out of nowhere. I said hi to them. I seen the name pop up on the screen. It said so and so joined. I don't remember who the person was, but I did ban them from my live, and I reported their account as well because you can't go around saying that kind of stuff. Someone came into my live and told me that they hope I would get Charlie Kirked.
Ugh.
Which, if you don't know what happened to Charlie Kirk,
Graphic.
Google what happened. I'm not gonna say exactly what happened, but he ended up losing his life in a way that I don't think anyone should have to endure, especially with family around. And I think that is extremely sad.
And you know
But
what? It doesn't matter whether we agree or not with what he believed. What matters is that's not how a disagreement should have been handled.
no, and it definitely should not have been handled that way. But for someone to come into my live and say, "I hope this happens to you," they don't know me. I don't know them. I don't know them from Adam. I don't know them from Eve. I don't know who they are. So going in and saying things like that and then kind of leaving right afterwards is beyond disrespectful. And
Like, didn't even let you fight for yourself either.
yeah, they came in. I said, wow, I think it's kind of ridiculous and childish that you would say something like that because, why would you wish death upon someone else? Is my main question. Why if I was not, I'm in a better mindset now than what I used to be. If I was in a really bad mindset, that could have really hurt me. But because I'm in a really good mindset, I'm great. I see it. I'm like, all right, obviously you guys are being stupid. You're going to get blocked for saying something like that because that's disrespectful to begin with. And wishing death on someone isn't okay. And one thing I will say.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine. One thing I will say, and I don't know if people agree with it or not. When it comes to saying stuff online that can be very hurtful and mean towards someone, there is such a thing as karma. Karma will come back, and karma will make sure that something happens in your life to where you pay for what you said.
And karma comes in different forms. Like, if you don't believe in the
Yep.
word karma, there are so many things in different religions and cultures that equate to karma as well. Like,
yeah, and it's like, you have to pay for what you said, and one way or another, you're gonna pay for what you said. And karma themselves, they'll make sure that it happens. So when it happened, I was honestly taken back because I couldn't believe someone would say that. But at the same exact time, people think because they're behind their keyboards and behind their computer, they can say whatever they want and get away with it. Even if I may not say something super mean back because I don't want to have a bad live stream, I hope that people know it's going to come back to you one way or another. It may not be by me. It will be by karma.
yeah, somehow or some way it's going to come back around because
Yep.
no matter what you believe, I think we can all safely agree that the world has a balance. And
Exactly.
when it falls out of balance, it has to be corrected in some way.
Yeah,
good and
I do
evil,
agree with
light
that.
and dark, right and wrong. There is a
Vampires and
balance
wolves.
to everything.
Twilight.
Oh my gosh. But no, relating to that is like my very first day live streaming, someone came into my live stream in TikTok. I swear I have some beef with TikTok, man. They came in and in separate messages graphically told me how to end my life.
That's
and not
ridiculous.
like a how-to thing. It's like, I want you to do this because this is what you deserve. and I reported them.
Like, that is disgusting behavior. Absolutely disgusting.
And like graphically said what was going to happen afterwards, and like no one will miss me and all these things. So I blocked them. I reported it to TikTok, and TikTok said actually they didn't violate any guidelines.
Why does TikTok do that? That's one of the biggest things I have with TikTok. If I see something that is physically happening that is bad, oh, well, they didn't say nothing terrible, and they'll say something like that. One thing I say, I am thankful for TikTok for one thing, and that is to not let kids stream until they are the age of 18.
Yeah, honestly.
I will
thank
say
goodness.
that itself is a blessing, because can you imagine how these kids would handle hearing something like that? And
As
then
an
having
adult, I don't even know how to handle hearing that. Who are you kidding?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, even little kids hearing something like that. That's disgusting. And there are people on YouTube who will actually go and make videos and stuff. It was a while back. I remember hearing about it because I had to monitor what my kids were watching, because there was videos about people going online and saying like, oh, you should do this to yourself, you should do this to your parent. And it's like, why would you possibly want something like that to happen to someone who is so sweet, pure, and innocent?
And young minds
Just
are
because
so
you told them
moldable,
to.
they're not thinking about consequences. That part of their brain is not developed in any shape or form.
Yeah, and you don't get your frontal lobe developed till you turn 25.
And even
Right?
then, for the most part, but if you're neurospicy in any way or if you've had PTSD, it's even longer.
Yeah. So it's just like, you never know at what age it could actually harm someone, but it's still harmful to begin with, and I feel like it's not needed.
And actually, it doesn't matter what age you are. Like, saying something like that is harmful no matter what the effects are. Whether someone does it or not, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Because that is just, it's a horrific thing to just tell someone to do. Young,
Yeah, it
old,
is.
in between, it hurts my heart. You
And
never know what someone's life is like,
Yeah, it's absolutely terrifying. So, do you have a story you want to tell on that too?
Yeah.
Or did you... Go ahead.
So-
Or if you want, we can go to the parasocial, but that's up to you.
Oh gosh, social media. How I love you and hate you so. The internet invention itself, the concept, the hope for the future is such a beautiful thing. And then the human race had to do what the human race does. Social media connects all and changes lives. I really truly do believe that. I also believe that there are fake things out on the internet, making people believe that anything is possible, and oh gosh. People get on social media, and echoing kind of what you said earlier, they think it's okay to say whatever they want simply because they're behind a keyboard.
Yeah.
And I think while social media is fantastic, there is a dark side that we are not educating our children on. And we say, oh, watch out, there's bad guys out there, and, don't compare yourself. You can't just say that and then walk away. We need to be educating in a proper, extensive way, regularly, for everyone. What you say online is permanent. If you said something in person,
it can always be traced back.
Something in person is already kind of permanent, right? But
yeah,
in the grand long scheme of a millennia, someone would probably forget something you said verbally. If you put something online, not only is the person you're aiming this towards gonna remember it, it will be remembered for the rest of the existence of the internet. Any search, any click, any repost, any screenshot, any video can be brought up for the rest of eternity. You cannot get online and say anything like people have been saying to us and to other people and just think that it's okay. You will get consequences. And consequences are not just, oh, I'm going to be punished by my mom and dad. No. Consequences is losing your job.
Karma.
Consequences is not getting a job. Consequences is someone taking their own life because of you. Consequences is you thinking that way towards yourself. Like, it's not just towards other people that this is happening. This will reflect in your heart, your soul, your mind. What you are putting out there will reflect in yourself. Things you're saying to other people will start to haunt your dreams, your thoughts. You cannot do this. These are real people. You know, in my live streams, so many people are like, oh, it's a bot. Oh, it's a bot. Are you sure?
For you? You're a bot?
Are you 100% sure? Can you say, without a single shred of doubt, is there any way you could be proven wrong? What if it's an overeager kid that has gotten on social media and doesn't know social media etiquette? What if it's someone that's just slightly socially awkward and doesn't know the proper thing to say? And you just go off on this bot like, you're a bot, you're stupid, block them, ban them, hate them, blah, blah, blah. Like, no. I will not be caught dead telling someone, bot or not. Not that I'm like, oh, bots have it. No. If there is even a 0.00001% chance that that is a person, I will not treat them with disrespect. I will give warnings. I will say, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to kick you. I'm sorry, you seem nice, but I'm, just in case, for the quality of other people here, I'm going to mute you. Like, I will not treat them with disrespect. And the person that came into my live and told me how to myself, after I banned them, were you there? Do you know what I said after?
I don't think that I was there. I think this was whenever I wasn't following the channel.
I blocked them, and then I said, I hope that they get what they need in life. I hope that something good happens and they get what they are looking for.
Yeah.
Because if you're so desperate to tear other people down, that truly is self-reflection on you. And I'm not going to be like, oh, I pity you, or I'm looking to... No, I know life is hard. I know that this world is disgusting and dangerous and hurtful. And I hope that good things come to them. Because that is... I just hope that for everybody. You know, I'm not putting out that bad juju in the universe. And
yeah, because the universe will reciprocate that.
Yeah, and the thing is too is like social media has made it seem like everything is okay. So most young women hear about don't compare yourself to other people on the internet, right? Like that's a pretty common thing young women hear.
Yeah, I will say yeah.
But what they're not taught is like not just, oh, don't compare. It's, hey, what you're seeing could be completely deceitful. Someone could have edited the crap out of this photo, and then even after posting it still felt that they were too big. Yeah. Severe body dysmorphia because of editing in magazines. Social media saying you have to be a size 000, whatever the smallest size is now. And even then, you're still not enough. Do you know that a plus-size model isn't actually a plus-size person?
No, it's just a model with a little bit of extra meat on them in certain places.
Not even. There's a video out there of a girl showing what the model measurements are. They're smaller than a tree branch. Like...
Jeez.
She's like, you can't even fit my head in this circle. How is someone this skinny according to these measurements without either surgery, dying, or lying? People, young women, young men. This is not just a woman issue. This is a young man issue as well. Not every guy has to have a 6 to 12 pack of abs, okay? Like, We're not Batman!
Batman.
Where he pops out his little extra ab. You don't have to look like that. That is not your average Joe, and it's okay. That is what we should be talking about when we talk about comparisons. And, you know, going on other people's pages, like, two creators have beef, okay? There's keyboard warriors on one side, keyboard warriors on the other side, and they swap, and they just eat each other alive. And, well, my content creator said this, so it's gospel, and you need to go... I don't know, it is sickening that you don't think that there's another person on the other side of that phone.
Yeah, people don't care. And that's the messed up part, that people don't care.
It hurts my soul to think that there are children on this internet.
I know, and they're seeing this kind of stuff.
And if you are a child and you somehow got on my page, get off. I have set all of my pages to non-children, and there are still children getting in here. As parents, we have got to teach our children to stay off the internet. It is not our children's job to know better. No. You mother, you father, you out there, whatever you identify as, it is your job to protect the youth. It is my job as a content creator to make sure children are not on my page. And it shouldn't be on me, but I'm going to take that on because some of you aren't. This is so important to protect the youth. I'm not gonna yuck people's yum, okay? You can play whatever video games you want to play. But there's gonna be so many people that are so mad about this. Do not let your 6-year-old play a shooting game where there's blood, guts, and gore. Let them, like, what kind of a mindset were you at, Giggle Guts, at the ripe old age of 6 years old?
What kind of mindset I was at? Honestly, well, kids now and kids whenever I was younger are different. Like, my daughters have a different lifestyle than how I used to have whenever I was younger.
And that's fine, but just a
Yeah.
general comparison.
For me, whenever I was 6, I was outside and I was playing, like, in the grass. I was at,
Did you believe... Here, this is kind of where I'm going towards. Did you believe in Santa Claus?
Yes.
Did you believe in fairies and rainbows and magic?
Yep.
Now,
Yes,
I know
I
not every child is going to be this way, but if at the age that I was thinking about rainbows and unicorns and Tinkerbell, children are now playing games of murder. I understand that this world is deep and dark and has changed, and we can't just send our children out to play anymore without worrying about their safety. I understand. That is not my point. At all. My point is, we as adults think it's okay to let our children be exposed to what we are exposing ourselves to as adults. There are children being exposed to corn. There are children that are being exposed to sewer slide and swear words. At 6 years old, I thought stupid was a swear word, okay? I'm not saying every kid needs to be raised the same. No. We just need to protect our children. You can't hand your kid a tablet and let them search the internet for whatever they want. And it's not like, I'm not, how do I put this? It's not that you're a bad parent. You might not realize what you're handing your child because we as adults are not being educated on this. We need to set up education for what is out there. As adults, we need to be taught how to monitor. We need to be taught how to block. We need to be taught safety for ourselves, so we can then in turn protect our children. As content creators, I think it should be something that we are taught how to monitor our community. We need to be taught I'm telling you, navigating a way to protect children has been my own personal hell.
Mhm.
I, in so many ways, have tried to make sure that children aren't joining my Discord. Not because there's a single bad thing there, but because I would never live with myself if a kid got on my page, something slipped under my radar, and that kid was exploited, shown things they weren't shown, shouldn't have been shown,
Yeah.
or worst thing of all, kidnapped. Taught how to do things to themselves, taught how to do things to others. I would never want to live again if it was my fault a child came onto my page and that happened. Even though I'm not the one exposing them, even though I'm not the one teaching them these things, I cannot let it happen.
Mhm.
And as content
And I
creators, we
agree.
should feel equally responsible. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. No, you're good. I think actually you said everything I was gonna say.
I don't know. The
Boy.
internet is a wonderful, wonderful place.
Yeah, internet is great, and we have come so far with the internet, and there is so much good in the internet, but there's also so much bad. Me myself having kids, I know the same exact thing that you said. I don't want them to, my kids. I feel like at a certain age, your kids should not have cell phones, right? But with the world being so much more advanced now than what it used to be, whenever I was a kid, it was completely and totally different. I didn't get my first cell phone until I think I was the end of middle school,
Yeah,
beginning
same.
of high school. And
Me
it wasn't
too.
even like a touch phone, it was a flip phone that you had to
Mine,
press buttons
mine,
on to
mine was a
call. And
slide phone that you'd slide up and
yeah,
type on. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and those ones were nice phones. I remember those ones.
They
But
still make those.
they do, yeah, they still do. I don't have them. I thought it was so cool whenever I was a teenager because it was something small you could just put into your pocket and then that's fine. Whereas now we have iPhone, I think it's iPhone 17 now?
And
iPhone 16?
you know what's
Something like that?
crazy is like with all these advances in technology, there's so many things that we can do to protect our children and still
Hmm.
not give them cell phones.
Yeah,
Like
that is true.
smartphones specifically. Give them a
Hmm.
flip phone. You know, Motorola made a Razr flip phone that's hot pink. You're telling me a teenage girl wouldn't think that's freaking adorable?
It's freaking adorable, but I think it is like really adorable with my daughters. And you know, my daughters they do have phones. But it is because I want to make sure that they're okay. And
Yeah,
I have it to where whenever they have their phone with them, I can track where they are. I can track where
right.
they're going. When they're with someone, I know where exactly they're going. Whenever they leave my house, it notifies me on my phone that they left the house and stuff like that. So I use it for not only that, so I can keep a close eye on them, but I also let them watch videos and stuff that they want to watch. But I do monitor everything that they do. And there are certain apps they're allowed to be on. There are certain apps that they're not allowed to be on, and they know that. And if I
Yeah.
tell them no about something, and I've explained it to them too, you have to make it abundantly clear to your children and not just be like, oh, well, you can't go in there because I said so. Like,
Right.
for example, you have to be like, listen, how I talk to my daughters, I'll tell them when they make TikTok videos, because they're going to want to make TikTok videos, do not use music that has swearing in it
Yeah.
you know and then on top of that, also make sure when you're recording a video you do not show your face. If you have They both have TikToks, do not message anyone. Do not message anyone back if they message you. If they do not know you personally, I do not want you talking to them. And they're like, okay, yeah, that's fine. So I do, it may be excessive, but like once every week, once every 2 weeks, I do ask them questions like, have you done this? Have you done that? And they're like, no. And it can be a little bit weird for them, I'm sure, but I just want to make sure that they're safe. I don't want them
Yeah.
to come across something that they shouldn't be seeing and ask me about it. It's just, it's scary because the internet has advanced so much and for great things. The internet is absolutely amazing, but the internet also has a lot of bad too.
And my
And
thing
making sure
too,
that your children are protected is super important. Go ahead.
yeah. And my thing too is like the kind of changes that need to be made are not going to be made with the current generation of teenagers. Unfortunately,
No.
you can't backtrack how far we've gone. We need to start fresh as new adults who haven't had children yet. We need to figure out our crap first, and then we need to make these changes before we have children. So, like, Okay, you're talking about like tracking, right? Which is so important these days, especially with like human trafficking and kidnapping, and like all these things, right?
Extremely. Yep.
It's
Yep.
so important. There are some devices like watches that you could track kids on and AirTags, but there's flaws in all of these technologies. We,
Mhm.
as adults, need to focus on changing those technologies and make it better so when the next generation comes, we're ready. We need to make a form of technology that they can feel included on, but not be exposed to what we're being exposed to right now. We
Yeah.
need to come up with a technology that can make sure you know where your child is, but in a non-invasive way and in a way that some creepy guy's gonna immediately look and be like, ha, that looks like a trucker, yeet. Something smart I saw was this mom cut up her kid's shoes and put a
Mhm.
tracker inside the sole of the shoe. So the kid's not looking at it, and you're not gonna immediately look at this kid's shoe and think, wow, there's a tracker in that.
Yeah, it's just as a society, I think it's so sad that we had to get to a point where we have to put trackers and stuff on our kids when they should be able to walk outside and play as freely as they want to.
And like bulletproof backpacks. I know this is a
It's
uniquely
just
American problem, but it's still a problem.
yeah, and I don't see it being fixed.
Not at all.
No, and
It's
it's
gotten
very sad
worse.
saying that. It's terrible. The world itself is so hell-bent on I don't even know how to explain it. It's just not a good place to be at.
It's
And
been normalized. And this is a
yeah,
part of
it's so
social
normalized
media.
and it's so okay. There are certain countries to where, there are certain procedures put into play. You should not have to go into an elementary school in the United States and have to be checked for weapons. It's disgusting.
But at least some schools are doing that versus other schools that are just letting I could go pick up my sister. They didn't know
Mhm.
who I was. I could just go and pick her up, say, "Hey, I'm picking up this kid." And they say, "Okay." No
Yeah,
identification. They didn't check the
yeah, it's
emergency list. Nothing. You're
yeah.
telling me I could walk in that school, but my mother couldn't come to my high school when I was 18 years old and come get me without 50 different forms of identification, and they didn't even let me leave,
Yeah. I
and they
know with
punished me
certain
for it.
schools, there are certain schools who are very on top of their security. Like my daughter's school, they're very on top of it. They know what goes on, who comes in. You have to be on a list to pick them up. If you're not on the list, you can't pick them up. There are some procedures, and it makes sense. Sometimes it can be infuriating because if you don't call beforehand, then you can't, pick up your kids. You have to wait
Oh
till they
no,
get
they
home.
did. We just had idiots.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just it's devastating that the high school is what they protected and not the 5-year-olds.
yep.
It sickens me that our priorities are so screwed up. Something interesting that comes into social media is like, it's normal to talk about billionaires, right? Because tech billionaires are the reason we have social media.
Yes.
Have you ever heard someone describe the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire?
No, I don't think that I have.
I'm not going to get the numbers right, but this is a general gist. Being a millionaire is, I'm going to say this as a very generic statement coming from a poor person that's never going to be a millionaire. A millionaire is in quote unquote reach for every normal person because of our economy. Okay?
Yes.
If you somehow worked your way to the top, you can become a millionaire, like at a normal job. And to make $1 million would take a certain amount of years, yes, but like an attainable amount of years. Like, I think it's somewhere between 3 and 5 years. Like, you could make this $1 million or spend $1 million.
Oh, it's I will talk about it after you're done speaking,
Yes.
but with my businesses and stuff, there is certain rules and stuff put into play for each business.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll tell you after you're done. Go ahead.
Yeah. But to spend $1 billion, you would have to spend, it's between several hundred to $1,000 a day, and it would still take you 33 years to spend $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
versus 5 years of like spending a low amount, you could spend $1 million. Versus $1 billion would take you 33 years. You're telling me that these billionaires are suffering?
There's no way.
Like, we have been so exposed to so many things. And another video I saw recently was a guy walking down a street, and this kind of ties into it as well. It's like how other countries think walking in America is, and you hear bang, 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 right? And the person falls to the ground freaking out, oh my gosh. And I was like, oh, haha, whatever, like, this is so dramatic. And then it's gonna be like, oh, there's actually no gunshots, whatever. And the next clip is him walking down the street and hearing the shots and just not even blinking. And unfortunately, that is far more accurate. We are so overexposed to our media, to our news, to the horrific things that are being, horrific crimes that are being committed. And it's so normal. It's so frequent. It's not normal. It is so frequent that our brains are now registering that as normal. And it is not okay. We have to do something now. The way our entire world is living, but particularly America, we are living in a horrific dystopia. The whole world is. Don't get me wrong. The whole world is in a horrific dystopia. We, as a society, have to do something. But in America, we are letting things happen. We are just sitting here on our little twiddly thumbs because our brains have processed it as normal. We have been conditioned because of social media, because of the jokes we make to cope with the fact that we are so traumatized. It's become normal to laugh at pain. It has become normal to just be like, oh, haha, whatever, I'm sure that's fake. Especially with the introduction of AI.
Yep. Yeah, AI is actually pretty scary.
Normalizing things that shouldn't be normalized.
I think that it's insane that things are normalized, especially when they shouldn't be. I will say, for example, like we're talking about, like how it's normalized that high schools, elementary schools, middle schools could be a place where kids could get actually hurt. There have been tons and tons of shootings and stuff, and it is terrible. And I hate that it is so normalized that people are like, oh, it's another one. Instead of trying to figure out a solution to solve the problem, you know.
Reaction too is like, oh, well, at least this one's not as bad as Sandy Hook or whatever. Like, we make comparisons like, oh, it was only 2 kids and they were only injured, not dead. Like, that's not the point. If this happened anywhere else, they'd be like, children injured and what? Like, that is how we should be reacting. Granted, we're all exhausted, and I understand why we're not reacting.
Time. Yep. It should be reacted like that every single time, where you shouldn't have to worry about dropping a kid off at school and worrying if they're going to make it their way home because of a shooter.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be something that's even brought up in a conversation or brought up at all, because it shouldn't happen to begin with.
And if it ever comes up, it's like, I remember as a kid when I heard about shootings, it was, oh my gosh, that poor person, I hope they get the help that they need, because it was usually someone that was off their rocker.
Yeah.
Like, it was such a rare occurrence, and there was definitely, like, a reason for it. And now, because we're so overexposed, and I feel like I didn't explain myself quite right with the 6-year-old and the shooting game. I don't think playing a game as an adult, that's fine, do what you want. But the reason it's a problem for a 6-year-old to play that game, not that it's a bad game, the problem is they are now being exposed to that kind of violence instead of at the age of 16 to 18. They're getting exposed to it a full 12 years earlier. That's a lot of development time for them to process in my brain, hey, I've seen this all the time. It's okay. It's normal. I'm not getting hurt. It's okay. Is
I think in a situation like that, if you were to play video games with your young kids around, just explain this is not good behavior. This is just a
yeah.
video game. You do not do this in real life. It is a video game.
And that's where the education comes in. We as
Hmm.
adults need to be educated first in how to educate our children. And
Yes, yeah.
as a society, we need to take a step back and self-evaluate. Like, hey, I wouldn't catch my kid doing this without giving them a whooping. So why are you doing it?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's so important. Education is taking a back seat. Now, I'm not talking about standard education, go to elementary, middle, high school, college. I am talking about teaching generationally. This will tie. Oh, this is perfect. This is a good tie right into generational differences. I didn't even plan that. Ah! But there are things that parents need to teach children. But
Mhm.
you can't teach your child something that you don't know. You don't know what you
Exactly.
don't know. You know, we talk about hindsight being 2020, but we don't talk about why hindsight is 2020.
Hmm.
The reason you look back and say, "Oh wow, I was stupid as a teenager," is because you didn't have the knowledge as a teenager to know that it was stupid. So many things can be avoided with parental education first, and then teaching that parent how to teach that child. And
Yeah.
every parent is going to learn differently. Every child is going to learn differently, and everyone's going to teach differently. But just because it's extra effort doesn't mean that it's not important. And it's not something that schools necessarily need to do. It'll have
Yeah.
to be school for the adults because we've gotten so far we've screwed up. But we as adults need to learn what we're doing wrong and know that it's okay that we've made a mistake and then fix it and vow to never make that mistake again. And then
Yeah.
turn around and teach this to the new generation of children when they are ready at appropriate times and not a second sooner. I understand wanting to prepare your child for the world. I do. You know, there is such a thing as sheltering too much. But there is also such a thing as teaching them too much too early.
This is true. Yeah.
I'm not going to teach my 3-year-old what it looks like when someone is trying to end their life.
No. Uh-uh.
I'm going to teach that 3-year-old how to dial 911 if they're scared, because that's age
Yeah.
appropriate.
Hmm.
But I am not going to say, hey, if someone takes a knife and puts it on their wrist, you should be really scared. No! It's going to be an age appropriate conversation, and I feel like we have lost so much sight on what is age appropriate with social media. Because instead of at this age they see this thing and that age they see that thing, like a gradual thing of being exposed, it's, oh, you're 13 now? Here's the entire world and its problems at your fingertips. You get to see it all. No filter, no nothing, just whatever comes on your page, ta-da! And oh gosh, it hurts. We as parents, we as adults, we as teachers, content creators, we need to take control. And not in a I'm gonna control these people way. We need to take a step back and breathe. We need to stop moving at warp speed, and we need to think. We need to use our own individual brain cells, and we need to do it now. And that ties right into how do you deal with generational differences. Giggles, take it away, because I need to breathe. Oh my gosh. We're getting into the nitty gritty parts here.
Okay. How you deal with generational differences in your life. For example, how your parents are brought up versus how you're brought up and how you're going to bring up your children, right? So, certain things that your parents were taught whenever they were growing up that they would teach you, that you would teach your children. A lot of the things for generational differences they are mainly bad, depending on what area your parents are brought up in
Yeah.
and their beliefs. You know, there was things I was taught as a kid that I don't think I really want to get into.
Yeah, but you can probably give like a general synopsis without getting into it.
Hmm. But my mom and dad tried to teach me things whenever I was young, and I thought that they were normal things. And they weren't. They turned out not to be. And I found out at a very young age that, you know, something that I had said was not appropriate and it was very disrespectful. So after that, I stopped doing it. And then I took charge of my own life. And I was like, that hurt someone because I said that. I can't say that anymore. So now I'm going to definitely have to make sure that moving forward, I don't say that again. And on top of that, I could teach my kids the same exact thing, not to say that. So my kids know what to say and what not to say in a lot of situations. Take, for example, if you were, and this had happened not personally to me and my kids, but to another family whenever we were inside of a Wendy's, right? My kids know already because they had a situation where they didn't know what it was, and I had to explain to them what the situation was. So
Yeah.
I was inside of a Wendy's, and this is actually on like close to Halloween, a little bit before Halloween, so maybe like a week ago. This had happened. We went inside of a Wendy's to go get something after trick or treating, and a person with Down syndrome came in, and that is perfectly fine. That is perfectly fine, 110%. And they were with people that helped them because the one person was in a wheelchair. You know, someone had to help them, so they had people there that were supporting them and that were helping them, feeding them, and stuff like that. Damn.
Take a minute to breathe first.
I
I had to do that too after you left, so I was like, man, I gotta take a second to breathe. We're getting in the weeds. Luckily, we're on the other
Yeah.
side of it now, but gosh, dang, we were getting in the weeds. That really is the deepest part.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, so the Wendy's incident.
Yes.
We went to Wendy's to go get some food. A couple of people who had Down syndrome and a couple of other things came in, and this one person made a certain type of noise because they obviously can't speak. You know, they
Yeah, they're
have,
nonverbal.
yeah, they're nonverbal, exactly. And you know, this family beside us was sitting down, and the person came in and they made a noise. I think whenever he said it, he meant it like he was just generally confused.
Yeah.
But he was like, "What is that?" And his mom was like,
Oh no.
"Stop it!" Like yelled at him, "Stop it!"
Oh gosh.
And you know, I'm just sitting there, and I didn't think that he said anything bad because at least he didn't say what is that and then laughed afterwards. He was
Yeah, no,
generally
like he was
confused, like what is
confused. And if
that?
you've
Yeah,
never been exposed to someone with Down syndrome and you were never taught, it's a little confusing and you're like,
it is.
you're
Yeah, and you don't know what
confused.
it
You
is.
don't know what to do.
Yep, exactly. So, and I think that's where he was at. He didn't know what it was. He was confused by it. His mom screamed at him as if he was making fun of the person, and he wasn't. He wasn't doing that at all. He was just generally confused. He didn't know what was going on.
And she was probably mortified too.
She was mortified,
She
and because
didn't
she
teach her kids
yelled,
sooner.
yeah, she was inside of Wendy's, and she yelled at the top of her lungs, "Stop it!" To where several people had looked over at her because she yelled at him like that.
Oh boy. More attention
And
than the scene ever warranted.
yes, yeah, exactly. And people looked at her, and she was just like, "It's ridiculous that I yell at you to stop it because you say something inappropriate, and now people are staring at me because I yelled at you to stop it."
People!
And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, he really didn't mean anything by that, though. But of course, I'm not gonna go up to a lady and tell her, "Hey, listen, you know, to each their own. I parent my kids a certain way, whatever." But and that probably wasn't right to say that, but
Well, no, people can
I
parent their kids however they want. That is the reality we live in. Like, do
yeah,
whatever
you
you
can
want.
parent your kids however you would like to. But with situations like that, it happened once whenever my kids were younger, and they didn't even know what it meant. They kind of responded the same way, like, "What was that?" But they didn't laugh or nothing. They were just seriously concerned, and they were wondering what it
Yeah.
was. And I had like gently like pulled them to the side where like I was talking to them like face to face, like, "Hey, this is what's going on. You don't go saying anything because of this reason. They can't help it. You know, It's something that people deal with. Kids, adults, grown adults, any age. You can have this issue or you can get this issue over a certain amount of years. It just depends. And you shouldn't treat them different because of that. And you should be respectful regardless.
And
So
you
my
know
kids,
what's amazing about that is like growing up, my mom would be like, I'll tell you later, I'll tell you later, and like shut me up and like put her hand over my mouth. As someone that is now physically disabled and I'm in and out of a wheelchair and I have a service dog, my favorite thing is to hear questions like children ask genuine questions and the parents say something kind. Like what you said, like, we don't treat them any different. They
Mhm.
they are just dealing with what they do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they explain it in
Yeah,
such
yeah.
a kind way and it warms my heart. And I know I see every parent's face just get so red. I'm like, it's okay. And sometimes, like, if the kid's like really looking at Spartan, I'll be like, hey, do you have any questions? This is my service dog. And the parents every time are so relieved because I am willing to I'm willing to answer questions
Mhm.
any day of the week. And this again is where education is so important for everyone.
Completely and totally, I will say. With my daughters, yes, yeah, okay. The generational differences is what the topic itself was.
Yeah, and then it
Because,
was
yeah,
like we were start with like the bad things and then switch to the good things because of the
yes.
generational.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the generational differences that, I grew up with was that you had to go to college, you had to do this to have a good paying job, you had to do this to have a good paying job, you had to do all these other things to make sure that you are set for your life. And realistically, it's not really true. Yes, you can get a career and go to college and get a doctor's job, or you could just have a regular 9 to 5 working at a grocery store, doing whatever, whatever you have, whatever you do. Or you could be a business owner. And I am a business owner of 3 businesses. And so with my kids seeing me being a business owner and doing stuff by myself and not having to work for anyone else, they see that and they go, okay, I want to do that whenever I get older. And it's always the option. If you want to go and do this and pursue doing that, you can. And I will be here to help you 110% throughout the way of, what you're doing. That way, so, you are taken care of. And they are just like, yeah, awesome, great, perfect. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's
So
gonna
that's
be
what I wanted to
amazing.
say.
It's gonna be amazing for sure.
Yeah, I'm like super pumped.
All right, what question are we on now? Um, What's your parents' favorite snack growing up?
My parents' favorite snack growing up, my mom and my dad. My mom used to eat these things. They were called hominy beans.
Yes.
They're so good with a lot of butter. I eat them because they're delicious, and she used to
Mm-hmm.
eat that. My dad, growing up, he would like a lot of beef stew, and like canned beef stew or like fresh and made beef stew. So he would eat that, and we love both of them. They are absolutely delicious.
So good.
Mhm.
My dad was the pickle bob recipe guy,
Oh, pickles are
and
so good though. Pickles slap. They do.
they really do. And then my mom was
Yeah.
like ice creamaholic, which is so funny because like when she and my dad got married, she was like 100 pounds even, and she
Mhm.
would just eat ice cream and Snickers. Like she
I
was a
love the Twix
tiny,
ice
tiny
cream
little
bars.
girl.
They're so good.
So good. But yeah, those are definitely their favorites. And then, what is your favorite snack?
My favorite snack. I have several favorite snacks. I will. Can I give three?
Yeah, give me your top
Three?
three.
My top three: beef stew over rice and
Ooh.
sticky rice because it makes it very flavorful. My second one is cheese tteokbokki.
Oh,
If
the
you like
bulky, yes.
tteokbokki, yeah. If you like rice cakes, it's very good. It's very cheesy. It's delicious. I add more cheese to it every time because I love cheese. I, and then my third one is always and will always be pizza. Pizza is my absolute favorite.
Yes.
I grew up on pizza. I grew up on chili. I grew up on a lot of different things. So pizza is like a comfort food to me, and it's always good and it's very cheap if you have a whole big family to fill.
Yeah. My favorite snacks. I'll just do top three too.
Mhm.
I love a good pizza bite, man. Pizza bites are so freaking good.
Oh, pizza bites are delicious. Yeah.
There are these things that I discovered. Favorite snacks: pizza bites.
Mhm.
I discovered this snack when we first moved here, and I've been obsessed. They're called potato sticks.
Potato sticks are so
I had
good.
never even heard of them.
Damn, speaking of potatoes, I had another one. I haven't tried them yet, but it's like Korean corn dogs.
Oh, I've always wanted to try Korean corn dogs. They sound
Yeah,
delicious.
they really do.
But yeah, so those are two, and then probably pickle bobs.
Hmm?
Probably pickles, pickle bobs, something like that. I don't know. I like food. I like all food.
I do too. Yeah, all food, any food, every food. Same here.
What is a family tradition that you've had since you were a kid?
A family tradition that I've had since I was a kid. The tradition actually stopped a couple years back after, what happened with my dad. But before that, every holiday, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, St. Patrick's Day, 4th of July, we would go to my mom and dad's house and we would be there for the majority of the day. We would have food cooked inside and we would just sit in the living room and play the Nintendo Switch with everyone. We play like Mario, we
Yes.
play Mario Party and stuff like that, and we used to do
Oh,
that a lot. But
fun.
as of like 4 years ago, we stopped doing that because, my dad ended up passing away. So we kind of just do our own thing for the holiday now, which isn't as fun or exciting, and people get upset still. Like me, my older brother, and my younger sister are upset about it. So is my older sister, so she claims, but we shall see. Doubt it,
Yeah.
but
I don't know. The holidays were like the only time that we all just pretended that we liked each other and we weren't allowed to fight. And
that's how it
so,
was for us too. Yeah, like I would be really mad at my sisters over something. Like we get into a fight, but on the holidays, I would act like I wasn't mad to have a good holiday. I
yeah.
wasn't gonna walk into a holiday and have a major attitude with someone and ruin a day because of me being, whatever type of way. So, yeah, we would just be like, yeah, we're fine with each other for today. That's fine.
But, yeah, I just loved Thanksgiving and Christmas. Christmas, especially. It was just.
I love Christmas.
I've
Christmas is
never
such
had
a fun
snow on
holiday.
Christmas, and I am praying this year will be the year. We're actually supposed to have our first chance of snow next week, which has never happened this early for us. Like, we've been here since, like, El Nino and stuff. So it's been really warm and, like, uncharacteristically unsnowy. We had a
Yeah.
drought in the middle of winter, which is, like, so weird. Jump scare again. We didn't really end the topic smoothly, so hi, this is the end of the video. We're so glad you're here, and those are all the questions we had. Yeah.
Thank you for, being here and showing your support. If you like this kind of content, make sure you like, follow, and make sure you like and subscribe, or like, follow, subscribe.
And I know
Put
we
some
covered
topic
some.
idea.
I know we covered some deep, dark topics that a lot of people don't cover, but
Yeah.
this is something that's meant to spark conversation and thought and
Yeah, and
action.
it will definitely do that. Yep, it will definitely do that.
Well, I suppose I should say thank you, Giggles, for being here. I know we got in the weeds and we were all over the place. But I'm so glad you're my new co-host.
Me too. It's gonna be so much fun, and we're gonna have so many topics to talk about. There's gonna be so much more stuff.
So we will see you guys soon, and let me know down in the comments below what your favorite holiday is.
And as always, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe, everyone.
All right, love y'all. Bye.
Yes. Bye.
So, Giggles, what is a midnight brew?
What is a midnight brew?
What is a midnight brew episode?
Midnight brew episode is where we talk about things on the show and discuss them. I just said the same thing twice.
Yes, you did. Are you excited?
And it is either super nice things like, "Oh, you're so nice," or it's other things like, "Hey, baby girl, what you doing? What do you think you're doing later on?
We will.
Hey, here I am."
Yay, you did it! Now put your booty on the cushion.
It is on the cushion, isn't it?
No, you're standing.